Welcome to another episode of Grateful by Lady Law. Today we have special guest Marc McClure. Marc, thanks for making the drive over.
You bet.
All right, Marc came to us today from Iowa.
Yep.
And so how were the roads out there?
It was good.
Okay.
It was good.
So this last weekend, in Omaha, we got about 4 or 5 inches, I'd say.
Yeah.
How much did you guys get?
10 inches.
Oh, my goodness.
And central Iowa got about 12 to 14. So you could tell where it was a little bit worse. But I went to Des Moines yesterday and did some stuff, and it was dry all the way down. Snowy a little bit in Des Moines, and then today by the time I was gone, it was sunshine. And
perfect.
Got over here, and everywhere I've been, it was sunshine, and yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, highways are clear and everything.
Yes.
Well, thanks for making the drive. It is
significantly
colder here in Nebraska now.
Little bit.
Just a week ago, I think it was in the 50s or 60s, and now.
And next week it's going to be back there.
Oh, good.
But I actually have to go do a couple, 3 things while we're in the single digits.
Oh, boy.
And so, yeah, all the good timing, and I'm looking at next week, and it's like 45 next Wednesday.
That's always how it works out.
So, yes.
Well, I want to let the listeners know how we know each other.
Okay.
So I would say it's been about 3.5 years, I think, since we first met, maybe 3 years.
Just right after COVID.
Yep, right after COVID. So as a personal injury attorney, I get a lot of slip and fall cases. And so one of the things I need on these cases is an expert. And so I reached out to my good friend, Justin High, an attorney here in Omaha. And he's helped me so much throughout the years, kind of learning personal injury. And he referred me to you.
Right.
And then Ross Pesic also had dropped your name.
You bet.
Another big attorney here that's been I'm so super grateful to both of them for helping me.
Yeah.
So they're like, you've got to meet Marc. He knows everything. And it's the truth.
Well, so Justin and I had a long relationship. So when I was at Procter & Gamble plant out in central Nebraska, and as I was leaving there, Joe Grant was who we worked with.
Okay.
And I wanted to continue that relationship, and Joe told me I'm looking to go into more of the mediator type role. And I asked him, I said, would you recommend me somebody? And at that time, it was before Justin started his firm now.
Okay.
And it referred me to Justin. So I met him, gosh, this is getting back almost 20 years ago. And then that kind of got me in with some other the people from Creighton.
Yeah.
And then you have the Creighton connection,
yes.
too.
Yeah.
So, just kind of everybody kind of came together, and I've got a lot of experience with Justin on things besides just falls. So just in general, him and I, he knows the things that I kind of know and what to do and how to go look at it. We had a real interesting one, the one where we were looking at who owned the property.
Yes.
And, it was just like, I knew exactly what I wanted to find for us.
Yeah.
And I knew if we didn't find that one, Justin was going to tell us that at this point then, we probably got to find somebody that's got better knowledge of it than us. But it was like so close, and every time I'd go over there and look, and I'd let you know, I'd be like, boy, I don't know how many more times I can walk this property to see if I can find a name somewhere. But anyway, so we've been around 4 years, 3.5, 4 years.
I think so.
Right there.
Yeah, and that's just the beauty. So doing expert work on these personal injury cases, not only do you have so much expertise to draw from with a lot of the jobs and things that you've done before. You're very knowledgeable in the ADA guidelines, which I've learned is a very good starting point on these cases.
Yes.
But you're also willing to do all kinds of investigation and research.
So I love that part of it, being able to look and find out and really try to determine what happened and kind of where the whole piece of the incident fits. Mm-hmm. I got a good lesson in ADA because as that law came into place in the early 90s, I worked for a contractor in California, and it was a big switch for us to, we built prefab buildings, and we just leased them out to retail.
Yeah.
And we had to all of a sudden space the bathrooms different. And, first time you've seen it on print, it's like, what the heck is this?
Right.
And what are we doing? And then as I came back and got into a safety role with IMS Pet Food, it was like learning with their engineering group how we had to apply it on private property in a manufacturing setting. Because again, our plant was built in the mid 80s, and nobody had thought of anything ADA, and you just can't go back on the, like, well, we're never going to have a person in a wheelchair get here.
Yeah.
That's not what the ADA tells us to do. It talks about being able to apply to everyone and give everyone equal accessibility. So it's just not about that.
Right.
So there was a lot of things that as we got into, it was like, okay, when do we grandfather something? When do we know we just got to start over? You know, and where do we start?
Yeah.
So I got a good learning on that. And that one, I always think of that one, Mandy, is that gives us law to go ahead and reference. We can say here is a regulation that they tell us to do. It's a shall do, not a something if we want to do it.
Right.
So that's kind of where I kind of get to work with the falls. And then just through the years with all of that, just having employees in different places. So I had to learn about how we properly move snow. You know, there's really a standard for that you have to meet to keep your employees safe.
Right.
And so again, as I started to learn all of these things and kind of check those little boxes, it was just like, boy, I can tell when I've got something that was going to get me in trouble. And so now that's the kind of experience that I can give you, is like, yeah, we saw this at a plant in 1998, or, you know, this happened to us on a job site in 2014 or something like that. So I got a lot of experience like that I'd fall back to.
One of the things that always there's so many things about you that amaze me, but one of the things that amaze me is your memory is like a steel trap, because you can remember all of these things from years ago.
Yeah, and I don't know that it's an eidetic memory, but everybody will tell you, Doug Fletcher and I've done the podcast here, and Fletch is like, he trusts my memory better, even though he's more an expert on, say, like OSHA.
Yeah.
But it'll be like, McClure will remember what that number is, or when that one came to be a law, or something like that.
And I really saw that at play when I heard you talking about baseball. You definitely know a lot about baseball.
Yeah, dude. That's so. If I've got a bad habit in life, I've got to tell you anymore. It's baseball. If there's a day game, I mean, and I'm somewhere close, chances are I'm not going to work that day, except from the stand. So day baseball in Des Moines is a good thing. Day baseball here in Omaha is a good thing. And I actually, I got something, I don't even know if I've showed you this, but my daughter's treated me to a little bit of vanity this year.
Yeah.
I have Nebraska farm ranch plates, the beef state. So it's a 5-digit plate, where everybody else is 6. And you have to live out west to have it and everything. And mine says iCubs.
I love it.
And the iCubs are a client, so I do take in quite a bit of Iowa Cubs baseball games.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's so you. That's such a great gift from the girls.
Yeah. And it's so like the general manager, I have the same plate from Nebraska as he's got in Iowa for his wife.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So kind of fun things that we do.
That is awesome. So I want listeners to know a little bit about who you are.
Okay.
Where were you born and raised?
So came from Iowa. My parents relocated to Southern California when I was a kid. Dad wasn't getting along with his father, wanted to do something on his own, and they moved to LA not knowing anyone.
Wow.
Knew a cousin of an uncle, and that was like our first apartment. My dad got a job immediately, and almost immediately after getting the job, got a job at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. So it was the time of the Mariner unmanned spacecraft, the Surveyor, the Ranger, and the Apollo program.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my mom worked at the Pasadena High School. We lived in Sierra Madre, California. We were about 9 miles from the entrance to Dodger Stadium, so there's my baseball love again. And I grew up with Vin Scully. You can learn Vin was the announcer for the Dodgers from 1950 to 2017. So all those years, and just love of the game.
Yeah.
And I've realized we moved back to Iowa when I was 12. Dad moved back, took an opportunity to have a company with his brother, start building grain bins. But my wife and I went to Sierra Madre couple of years ago, went in April, saw some Dodger games, and getting there and just like the smell, the spring smell, it was like, this is really home.
Yeah.
It's where I really grew up.
Yeah.
So a lot of great memories there. Moved back to Iowa, and my dad built Butler grain bins and buildings.
Yes.
And I looked at school and everything, but I was having some issues at school. They changed the law to let 18-year-olds drink back then, and
Oh, boy.
18-year-olds, and then the fact that there was females at the school too, just kind of. So
Your mind was on other things.
other
right?
things all the time. So I had to really rely on getting craft training. I came up as craft millwright by trade. Worked through my apprenticeship, journeyman. Secured that just knowing that nobody'd ever take those skills from me.
Yeah.
I could always weld. I could hang a door straight. I could sheet out a steel building. Nobody was ever going to, I could always work with my hands that way, even to this day.
Yeah.
I may not be the best or the quickest anymore, but I could still do it.
That's awesome.
So kind of had that in my background. And then Butler acquired a company in Iowa, and a gentleman named Doyle Ditzenberger came with it. And Doyle, of all things, was a engineer to the 10th degree with a half a semester of college to be a pharmacist.
Oh, wow.
That was it. And then he had started working for a farm equipment company doing drafting, and from there the guy ended up with like 30 or 40 patents.
Wow.
In the grain handling industry. He sold his company to Butler, became a vice president, went to Saudi and helped sell over 100 grain bins in the kingdom, and didn't realize there was nobody to put them up, and I was really the only guy who knew to do that. Mm-hmm. And we had a great relationship, but I was only 21.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, so here's what you're going to do, and it was really culture shock for a 21-year-old to land.
So you went over to Saudi?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, at 21, just a total culture shock. Got off an airplane. It's like 100 degrees at midnight, and we were paying about a dime for a gallon of fuel. We were paying about $1.50 for a bottle of water. A little bit bigger than this, but
wow.
That was kind of the change. Right. And it was just Wild West. We, I had good accommodations, mm-hmm. but they literally, businessmen were renting the floor in the hallway.
Oh, wow.
Because the places were full.
Yeah.
Saudis were buying everything.
Yeah.
And kind of what they did to kind of distribute their wealth through their families was they encouraged self-sufficiency in farming. Mm-hmm. You can grow wheat anywhere if you can get water on it.
Yeah.
And so they built a bunch of grain bins for wheat storage. And I was over there at different times from 81 through 85. And then I started working in Southeast Asia for Butler.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
So I've always known that you've been drawn to grain elevators.
Yes.
And we've connected over that, too.
That was one of our big things.
Yeah.
You grew up to town with a grain elevator, and
yes.
it was like we just started talking, and I was telling you about concrete grain elevators. And and so I just went through your hometown.
Yes, you did.
Drove down.
So in Texas.
I went down in 1977 when I graduated high school. My dad did a job or a couple of jobs every winter to keep his crews together, and they'd go to Texas and work for a couple of guys down there. There was a big builder at Amarillo, Panhandle Steel.
Yeah.
And we always did a project for them, and then there was a big dealer over by Abbott, Texas.
Yep.
And anyway, that was my summer vacation. I graduated school, and the following Tuesday, we went to Hereford, Texas.
I know it well.
Built these grain bins, and I actually brought you pictures to share.
Awesome.
So I took a detour south out of Amarillo down through Canyon to Hereford that day, and then came back up north and went through Adrian and on across to I was going to Albuquerque.
Didn't take you long to get through there, did it?
No, but I did stop. I got pictures for you in front of your high school.
Awesome. Oh, wow.
And
I love it.
took pictures in front of the post office for your mom so that she'd know who I am and everything.
That's so cool. I love it.
And your grain elevator and your water tower. But yeah, so again, that was kind of one of the things that when we had started to meet, we had talked about. You'd asked me questions about some of the old elevators here in town and things. And so been around grain, grew up doing kind of storage like that. And then In the mid-'90s, I had an opportunity to go to safety.
Okay.
And my uncle Pete Jennison at the time was the corporate safety guy for a company, Todd and Sargent, that we built grain elevators.
Okay.
And he knew I wanted off the road and stuff, and got me an opportunity to get with Imes Pet Food, and I became a safety person for them at their plant in Aurora, Nebraska. And then they were acquired by Procter & Gamble.
Okay.
And so then I tell everybody I grew up in safety at Procter & Gamble.
Yeah.
And back then, Procter & Gamble's programs were so good. I mean, it was like literally, they had great stuff for all of us. So it's like, hey, want to do something for your education? And it's like, sure, go get a bachelor's in safety and I'll get a CSP. And Procter & Gamble was like, well, why don't you concentrate on getting through our stuff first? And it was like just eye-opening because it was more applied. They rewarded you well when you achieved accreditations and certifications that they wanted you to have and they felt you needed internally. So I got to learn a lot about things like fire and fire safety, and then environmental, what we do as far as what our plants put out, and then how the environment affects our people. So got a really nice background with all of that, and just continued on in safety, and that's what I've been for about the last 30 years. I tell everybody, if I got to have a title, it's just safety guy anymore.
Yes, it is.
So I like to teach. I got a bunch of classes that I like to do. Like to be hands-on, like to interact with the people, get good stories, get good information.
Yeah.
And kind of have fun.
Exactly. So one of the the reason I'm even here at this podcast studio is because of you. So you were here. I had told you I was interested in doing a podcast, and then you were like, "Well, I'm going to be in town to do a podcast with my friend Fletch."
We were having dinner, and I just told you, I said, you may as well tag along tomorrow and come over here and meet everybody, and because you were like, well, how did Doug get started and all this, and I was like, tell you what, come on with me, girlfriend, and I'll just introduce you to Doug and everybody here. And so Doug had started his podcast. This was something he'd always wanted to do. It was part of what he had, his passion about safety. And I was probably in his first 10 or 15 podcasts back when these guys were located over in another studio.
Okay.
And then been down here a number of times with Doug. So the day that I was here with him, we talked about what we were going to do, but we really didn't have a plan. We just kind of visit.
Right.
So it was perfect to bring you in and talk about some of the things I was doing and introduce you to everybody and kind of get you started here.
Right. That was such an awesome thing for you to do. And Doug, the name of Doug's podcast, I just love it. What's the Hazard?
Yes.
Couldn't be a better name for safety guys.
and he's so I may be interested in his podcast if he wants to move on sometime, but I'm more interested in I want to be able to share that name with him.
Yeah.
And so I'm taking the What's the Hazard as far as the name, and we're going to kind of mix that with some of the things I'm doing.
Awesome.
One of the things that we're working on is I have another friend that you know, Gary Higbee.
Yeah.
Gary's an other older safety guy, and I got to put the plug in here in case he watches, but he is much, much older than me. But him and I do a baseball about safety, and we use baseball as our message system.
Such a cool thing. Yeah.
We come to realize that baseball and work have the same goal, and that goal is to go home safely.
Yep.
And there's a number of things that go along with this. So we're calling it, we just have it as Mr. Safety, and I'm the old rookie because Gary's been teaching me for a long time. But we're gonna call it the Baseball All-Stars, and I'm gonna get guys like Fletch involved in this. We're having some fun with it. What we did last summer was we actually took a bunch of people to a baseball game. We did a hazard analysis class, and then went to the baseball game to apply it.
Wow.
And would love to do the same thing here with Fletch here this year with the storm chasers and stuff. We just had an awesome time. The day that we did it, one of the hazards that we had was one of our guys moved, and we were in the shade, and he moved into the sun area so that he could be in front of us to communicate with us.
Yeah.
And there was a foul ball,
Yeah.
and he lost it in the sun.
Oh, no.
And with us being in the shade, he looked back at Gary and I was leaning one way and Gary went the other, and he leaned the one way and the ball hit like 2 feet from him. But he totally lost it. So it's like, wow, what a hazard right off the bat.
Yeah.
And now what do you think of this? And so gave us some great new things to talk about. I mean,
so creative too.
You know,
it's so awesome.
How do a couple of guys like Gary and I who've been doing it forever continue to bring it back to somebody that's already seen us before?
Yeah.
So we found some things that we can talk about this way and kind of relate the hazards together.
That's amazing. One thing that I remember when I was on the podcast with you and Fletch was you were talking about, and forgive me, I forget what it was, but it was a way to train people with the fire hazards. What was that? So
I actually got out of the truck. It's our FIR unit, and it's a fire extinguisher augmented reality.
Yes.
So what it gives us the ability to do is, and it's so fun because I can teach everybody. I could come to your office, give each person in your office individually a lesson with the fire extinguisher, with the fire they're going to fight, spend 5 minutes with them. They'll know everything they need to know about fire extinguishers and what they want to do.
It absolutely blew my mind because you would have the screen and you could have it in the shop that the people are in, and it virtual reality. So the reason I bring this up, for many reasons, but one is because you call yourselves the old guys, but you guys are way ahead of the times. You know, with your creativeness and using this kind of technology, it's just amazing. You're just always on top of it.
We got to have. So first of all, we just like to have fun. All of us. I mean, whether I'm working with Fletch, the gentleman that I go to Albuquerque for, it's a client that Fletch and I share. And the gentleman that we're working for, Matt, actually lives here in Nebraska.
Okay.
And I just have fun working with these guys. I mean, it's like, Mark, would you drive 2,400 miles with your pickup so you can bring all your toys to play with us for a week? And it's like, yeah, I'll do that because the people that I work with, just a lot of fun. Yeah. A lot of good times. And Gary and I have done so many things through the years, together and separate, that we knew we wanted to do something together, kind of, it's the end of our careers. What are we going to get up and talk about? And we met, we were having coffee, and I had this great idea we'll talk about the numbers, because the numbers aren't good. We continue to kill people and hurt people at work. And Gary said, wow, he goes, that's really interesting. You and me.
Right.
Maybe Fletch. Maybe you could get Fletch to want to talk about that with us. But who else cares?
Right.
So we kind of did a little reset, and it's like, God, every time we're together, all we do is talk about baseball or play with each other's dogs. Is there anything here that we could use? You know? And so then that just became what we came from with that, is we started putting together how baseball and work are so alike, and safety at work, and unexpected hazards. And I mean, baseball. I mean, literally the first thing we got to tell you is we're going to throw this small little 1.5 pound sphere at your head at over 100 miles an hour.
Exactly.
And we're going to do this continuously. And so then we just started thinking about this, and it's like, this is so much fun because this is exactly hazard analysis, only we're not trying to teach you to change a tire.
Exactly.
We're going to teach you how to face a fastball.
That's awesome.
And we're bringing some things in. We've got some things. The augmented reality is a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. The fire extinguisher, you say this. So it just got told yesterday that I got to buy another one.
Oh, boy.
Because now they have one that's about like this size, and it has the iPad mini instead of the regular iPad on it. But it's, how big is the fire extinguisher on an airplane?
Oh, yeah.
So it is a really little one, and one of the things about that is that until you're there using a fire extinguisher, you'll never know is how really big and how long they last.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of fun putting things like that in people's hands, letting them know and understand how it really works.
And like you had explained it that day, is like it's almost like muscle memory. So then when the hazard really does come, that won't be their first time having this.
People always have in an ideal world, we would all really rise to this expectation. You know, the fire breaks out in the building, and in my day it was O.J. Simpson and the Towering Inferno running through the flames, saving people. But the truth of the matter is, people don't rise to an unexpected expectation. Our military doesn't teach you that. They teach you how to conserve your resources, stay alive, do your job, help this gentleman do his job, your fellow soldier on down the line, and work as a unit, and this is how it works.
Yeah.
We find the same thing over and over. People will fall back to the level of training they have, not rise to that unexpected expectation.
Yeah.
And so the better that we can teach somebody, the more I can help you become muscle memory with this, the safer I can make you in your work. And my goal used to be, it's like I'd tell the employer, I'm here to help build skill in your people to lower your risk. Now I just tell the workers, I want to help you do this so you go home well.
Yeah.
This is why I'm really doing it, so it helps you.
Yeah. And that's meaningful to hear from you.
Yeah, and you get to be my age. This is what we do anymore. This is what's fun for us. We love another new challenge. I'm working with Fletch on one right now here in town, and I'm excited about it because it's something I haven't done for a while. I'm getting into a couple of buildings, seeing some equipment I've been around, but now I'm seeing stuff that's like 5-6 years newer than the last time I worked with it.
Wow.
So it's pretty interesting to me and everything. And I'm having a blast looking at this right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So another aspect I wanted to make sure we have time to talk about is one that I know is like such a huge piece of your life is your family.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us about your family.
So got kind of a large family. I met my wife, Carrie, about 12, 13 years ago. We ended up working together.
She's incredible, by the way.
My boss sent me to her town, Osage, Iowa, and I walked a job site, and the first two guys I meet are her brothers.
Okay.
And then later that year, the gentleman that I had picked to run the project, we got this project, and a little town up northern Iowa. And my boss right away, he's like, so you think, would you pick to run this? And I told him the guy, I said, this guy didn't work for us at the time.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, if you can go find him and get him, we'll do it. So I did. I got Terry, brought Terry there. And then Terry ended up hiring my wife. And about 6 months later, we were both divorced and started talking and hanging out and visiting. And so between the two of us, we have a blended family of 8.
Nice.
Five girls that we get to claim some part of, and three boys.
Wow.
And my oldest daughter, Jamie, and then we've got a daughter, Tiffany, that's kind of a part-time, fits in here kind of girl.
Yeah.
And then we have daughter Katie and Helen and son John. And then Carrie has 2 sons, Seth and Lee, and youngest daughter, Mary Ann.
Yes. So
big family, got some grandkids now.
Yes.
Having the girls be successful, work, and all the daughters went to school, all the daughters got degrees, all the daughters doing stuff successfully. One of the things I'm really proud of is what they've been able to accomplish in their lives. And I do have to give a special shout out to Katie.
Yes.
Because she worked with me. She was on an episode too with Fletch, and Fletch refers to her as Dad's handler still. But
I think there's some truth to that.
Yeah. So she's at the college up at Mason City now, and we got a granddaughter close. So so.
And I've worked with Katie on many a thing, and she's phenomenal.
Yeah.
She's such a good person.
I've got to tell you, Mandy, and again, being friends with you too, my time at Procter & Gamble, when I started there, we were still a pretty old, stodgy white boy company.
Yeah.
And when I first started, there was a lot of talk that at this end of my lifetime, as I'd be retiring, I'd probably end up in Cincinnati teaching in some of their schools.
Yeah.
As I got older and we went along, those jobs were now going to some really qualified ladies and other people. And I was never jealous about that. One of the things that I'm most proud of is in the companies that I've been at, both Procter & Gamble and Integrated Electrical, was recognition that I got with people that worked for me. So Procter & Gamble, we had an award that you could get 100 shares of stock for an exceptional project or contribution to the work system. Uh-huh. And in my time at P&G, I had about a dozen people that were either direct reports or reported me indirectly for part of their time that got that award. So I was really proud that, got to help develop talent, and got to help a couple of amazing young ladies kind of come along, because I had a couple of good mentors, great mentors that were women. I had a woman plant manager she was one of the first women plant managers in Procter & Gamble's history.
Wow.
So tough, fair, great boss, loved working with her. I had a young lady that was an engineer that was my superior, and again, learned a lot, saw a lot of great qualities, and was like, literally, boom, this is kind of how I want my girls to be. And so as we met you, it's like, oh, I need to get you two together. I need to get some of this to rub off on some people and things, because I just want to always pass that along.
Yeah, I agree. That's awesome. And you said you have, how many grandkids do you have now?
So my oldest is Cidaline. She just turned 14. We got a teenager.
Oh, wow.
And then we've got a couple of grandsons in there. And they're 12 and 10, right in that age. And then we have the youngest one, and she's kind of the apple of the eye.
I see the sparkle in your eye.
Yeah, Tilly. She's definitely Grandpa and Grandma's girl.
Yeah.
She likes hanging out at Papa's place.
And she's Katie's daughter, and she's got so much Katie in her.
25 months old and just ready to, and she tells Mom all the time, so it's funny. Yeah. And then daughter Helen is expecting, so we're looking for another one here come next summer.
Exciting. Congratulations.
Yeah, it is. Katie has a goal that someday she's going to have it, that she just pay me full time to stay home and hang out with Tilly. So that's kind of the
twist
goal
your arm, huh?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So one of the things I like to talk on here is about the people that have influenced you throughout your life.
Yeah.
And you mentioned a couple already as mentors at Procter & Gamble.
So Doyle Ditzenberger gave me some great stuff early on. And one of the things about Doyle that I found just really unique was he was literally self-educated on what he wanted to be. Mm-hmm. He had figured out what he needed and how to do it. Started a three successful companies, was vice president of three more. So he was a great influence early on. Had a couple gentlemen that I worked with in the construction side of things that just gave me a lot of good stuff. Couple of great bosses, big idea guys, Andy Sanders and Tom Brew. I mean, we took on really big projects. And then I got to Procter & Gamble, and I was really fortunate. I had Lady Erica Foley that was my IHS person in industrial hygiene, chemical gal. Didn't let me not do the work. There was something to be learned. It was like, this is what you need to do. This is how I'll expect you to be able to put it together and explain it to me. Mm-hmm. And so just a great person to work with. And then again, there was great support there. Met a gentleman, Bob Lamastro. Bob gave me electrical mentor for electrical safety. And then part of the show stuff. Bob was into making sure that you were entertained while you were listening and learning from him.
Awesome.
So I took that one away from him. And then I've worked with a lot of great people through the years. I'll tip my hat. Gary Higbee's taught me so much.
What is Gary's title, or what is he? Yeah.
So he has Mr. Safety on his license plate in the state of Iowa.
That sums it up, huh?
Yeah. So Gary was vice president of a couple of big companies, Maytag. He was top guy in John Deere. And bled John Deere. He was a John Deere guy through and through. And then he developed through behavior safety and helped found a company called Safe Start. Mm-hmm. So
he does some of the human factor stuff.
Yes, and that's the thing. With me and him, and with what you do is, I can pretty much look at anything physical and work from there. Gary's the guy that can apply those behaviors and what happens when a human does it.
Right.
And just a lot of fun to work and be mentored by all these years. So, and again, we'll give him a shout out as the old guy
the
in
old
the room.
Guy.
But yeah, and then Ted Summer partnered Riskill. Ted's been a really good guy. technical safety really strong. Mark Damon, Jay Petrie. If I'm saying anything about fall protection, I got to talk about those two guys because they've taught me everything. And just been there for resources. I mean, Doug Fletcher, man, he pick up the phone and Fletch will tell you there's been times that we've had 2-hour talks while one of us drove across western Nebraska about something that came up either he was looking at for his client or something he was dealing with OSHA or something I had. So just had some really good people to help mentor. And still, I mean, Doug and I go back way longer than he probably wants to think about anymore. So Justin being another one. And having Justin included in our wedding was a big thing for us because he was just somebody that I talked to all of the time, and went beyond just like with you, beyond being a client, or being a customer, or being a relationship in business way. We just were able to always just text and reach out and say, hey. So
exactly, those are the relationships that matter.
Oh yeah.
And the one thing couple things. So your expert consulting business is called Risk Skill, right? Yes. Yeah. And one of the things that I've always appreciated from you, even though you're an expert, you're not a hired gun by any means. You will tell me if I don't have a case. And
I can probably tell you where the error may be a little bit more pragmatically because I've dealt with so many different things. It's like where's the public sidewalk in that now belongs to a landowner or the company or something like this, and then why or what do we think really happened here? I just think of a couple of the things through the years that I've seen. I have one on my phone. I'll play it for you later. But I got a call one day, and I had an employee, and as it's explained, this employee tied off to an improper tie-off spot, put pressure against it, it broke, and he did a backflip off of the building.
Oh my.
And landed on his feet 12 feet below.
Oh my goodness.
So I got on an airplane, went to Texas, because, man, if this guy could fly off the second floor of the building, if I can get him off the third floor, I'm no longer a safety guy. We're going to go on the tour together.
Right.
But then I got there and realized, how it had really happened, and I could see what had happened. And disappointingly, he didn't fly.
Yeah.
And he didn't even do the backflip. He just stepped on a piece of wood that wasn't tied down, and when it came up and hit him in the head, he just grabbed a hold of it and fell straight down 12 feet.
Oh my goodness!
Did he get hurt?
Yeah, I would say, was he hurt?
No. He so this was when I get the phone call. He had hurt his hands where they'd struck the ground on the concrete. Okay. But then the next day when I looked at his hands, I could see the slivers in them from the piece of wood.
Oh wow!
And I'm like, I don't think it happened quite like this, but could have it happened like this? And he was like, yeah, that's how it happened.
There's your investigative skills.
God, I was so thinking if you could fly, you and me were going to have so much fun together.
Right.
I was like, if I can get him to fly, then I can just find a flying carpet so I can do this.
Right.
We'll have a show.
He's so lucky, though. He may not be magic, but that man was lucky.
Yeah. And, that's the kind of thing that I can kind of bring and tell you when something like that, or, just get that sense of how, or somebody will tell you this is the way I fell. No, I don't think that's how this could have happened. And then you have the ones where just, and I think of our one with our one lady, that it just happens so fast that if you don't actually see it, their explanation of it isn't what you're going to hear, because it just was over in just such an instant, and all she's really thinking about it now is I got this broken foot. Yeah. So kind of nice when we get that to kind of back it up so that we can see what's really going on.
One other interesting thing I always remember is that you actually knew Walt.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've had to think about this for a little bit, because it's like, I noticed when you were really happy, and I remember talking to Walt one day, and then but I didn't realize that, Walt's peanut butter was Mandy, kind of a thing. Yeah. So I actually was with Walt at the
Was it Cabela's?
Cabela's over here, and he was doing outside live. In fact, it was about the 1st of November one year.
Yeah.
Gosh. Been a while.
Yeah.
Been
and to me, that's just, small world.
Well, and you notice I think that's my 265, but I got a 37 and a 22 at home, so I got everybody in the round here between here and Des Moines. But Walt was a regular for Commonwealth.
Yeah.
And the Commonwealth safety guy and I were on the NECA group together.
Okay.
And we used to hold it just out at Mahoney because it was easy for everybody out of the Lincoln, Omaha area. And there was a couple of times that Walt was in or out of safety committee kind of stuff, that he was one of the guys that was with the Commonwealth group.
Yeah.
And so our guys kind of always talked and knew each other. And then when we got on the Cabela's, and it's like, we're pulling the wire and going to set these lights, and who's in charge of this end of the project, and it's him. So,
yeah, and he was always one of the loudest people, so you couldn't help but notice the guy.
you knew which trailer and stuff his group was out of and everything.
Yeah.
So
the other connection that you actually introduced me to, and I have so much solace in this, like it brings me so much peace, is the cranes and the camera. Remember?
Yep. So I do, and we still have to go. You have to go out there with me. Mm-hmm. We'll try to do that this spring. I annually get out to see the birds out west.
It's a big Nebraska thing here.
and so I go back. We have a lifetime friend, a gentleman named Jim Garrison, worked with my dad, and Jim was from the Kearney area. And Jim would tell stories from the 30s and 40s growing up that, I mean, compared to what we see today, I mean, it was like, 10 times as big back then.
Yeah.
The migrations.
Wow, because it's incredible now.
Yes. So anyway, something I was always interested in, and first worked in Nebraska way back in the 80s and started checking it out, and then lived out in that area. And it's just so peaceful. There's some nice drives out there. My girls all know, they'll tell you that, bird watching, and Dad just didn't really see that one coming. But yes, now it's been like 20-some years we've been doing it. And during COVID, because of the restrictions for travel and the restrictions getting in and out of their buildings, the Crane Sanctuary put up some additional cameras, and then gives us that ability to support it through our membership. And now they're on 24/7, 365. So chances are that if I'm sitting in a hotel room, in fact, last week I know that I clicked it over and just let it play in the background while I was working on some other things.
I know. I catch myself doing that too. It's just...
and they have one so you can look at their bison up on their part of their land. And but we do. We need to get out that way and see that. That's a fun trip. Yes.
Well, we're getting close to time, but you sent me an email back, just kind of some things to talk about. And there was one line in here that I wasn't sure. It says, we went to the border at Hong Kong and threw rocks one night with about 6 British friends till the lights came out.
So before the fall of the Berlin Wall and everything, I mean, we had an argument one night with a mechanic from the Aeroflot.
Where were you at?
This was in Narita, Japan.
Okay.
And this guy argued with me that I had a throwaway Casio watch, and that's why the United States would fail, because we didn't build things to last. And but I ended up with a friend. He's a second or third generation Chinese, grew up in downtown Des Moines, went to University of Iowa, and then ended up working in the state economic development.
Wow.
And was stationed in Hong Kong to help people from the state of Iowa do business over there. I knew him quite a bit. I was over there for Butler International and a couple other companies, and we became friends. I'd stop through Hong Kong and see him, and Hong Kong was still British, and he had introduced me to a couple of some British people, and we had met a retired British policeman. And this gentleman really knew all the good bars to go have a beer in Hong Kong, and everybody remembered him from his 30 years of being a British policeman there. And we may have had a little bit too much to drink, but we decided that we should just get this thing kicked off and see if China wanted to fight us. And,
Oh, boy.
We drove up to there was actually a border crossing, but we weren't there. But the British guys, boy, could that one dude swear. He knew a lot of good swear words. But anyway, we threw rocks against the fence, and the lights would come on. And after you did it a couple, 3 times, then they'd put some guys in a Jeep and send them down there, or maybe just fire a couple shots in the air your direction. But anyway, after about the 3rd time, the Brit guys were like, all right, let's all get back in the truck, because now's when we will get in trouble if we stay. But yeah, so after we got back to the one guy's place, it was decided that if the cops show up to arrest us, I had been the ringleader because I was the tallest guy there.
Oh, wow. Lucky
yeah, that
you.
was how I got voted to be the ringleader for that.
You have lived quite a life.
Yeah, I've had fun.
Yeah. And that's the thread that's through it all. And anytime, when we're together, and fun is just what we have. Like, it's just amazing. You just have this spirit about you.
Yeah, I try to enjoy myself as much as possible.
Yeah.
My wife thinks maybe a little too much.
I'm glad you have her. She keeps you grounded.
She wishes that maybe I'd put my nose to the grindstone just a tad more every day. But yeah, no, it's been fun getting to develop. I mean, I'm having breakfast with a guy on Thursday. I'm going to go see daughter tomorrow night or 2, and then I'm meeting with a guy that I've known for 30 years, been a good friend, used to work with him. We're having breakfast on Thursday. I'm back out in 2 weeks. One of my best friends at Procter & Gamble is getting ready to retire after 34 years at the plant. So I want to see him here while I'm out in December.
Yeah.
And again, this is a guy that I go back to a friendship of 30 years with.
Yeah.
And we're still texting each other. And Mark Doltz that you met. So
yes.
Mark and I knew each other 20 years ago. Mark retired 10 years ago, came out of retirement, and then he retired again the end of October.
Michael Jordan.
And when he retired in October, his text message to me was, don't bother me till after the 1st of the year. But after the 1st of the year, I am going to want to come hang out and work with you.
Awesome.
And so then I sent him a deal about we're going to do something with baseball in April. And he replied with a text saying, put me in, Coach. I'm ready to play in April.
So cute.
Yeah.
I love it. That's great.
Yeah.
So that's what the mission of this podcast is, just to spread the message of human connection and staying connected to those people. And you're the epitome of that.
It's so fun that, again, you and I have all of these different connections around about. I mean, even talking about you going to Amarillo with me, and again, we'll probably make that trip someday. Because it's like, if I just was a little bit more ahead of schedule this morning, but with the Dodgers winning the series last night, otherwise I'd been over to see your mom and dad. I mean, again, as we connected, you had a grain elevator in town. Your dad worked for a railroad.
Yes.
And I had 2 generations of railroaders in my past.
Yeah.
And there's a connection right there for us.
It's so cool. So much to celebrate. Well, I looked forward to years of friendship to come.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Yes,
me too.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being a guest here today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for everyone that's tuning into this episode of Grateful by Lady Law. As always, you can catch us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, and anywhere else you watch your favorite podcast. And we'll see you the next episode. Thank you.
A Huda Media Production.